Yeah, we're
Thank
live.
you. Thank you so much. I think I'll allow the owners of the platform to just say hi, give us opening remarks, just welcome the people who are tuning in, and then I'll come in with the meat.
Wow.
The
Okay, so
amazing thing about this situation is we are all owners of this platform. So this is
You know,
not
that's what I was thinking.
this is not Kumbukeni, this is not Moya, this is not the Imaginal Turbulent. This is a unity of Africans who are coming to talk about the issues we are facing. So Mama Kanyisile, take it, please.
I
Yes.
don't own platforms. I'm a knowledge giver. I don't do logistics and admin. So somebody must welcome the people who've tuned
All
in.
right,
okay.
guys. Hey,
Hello,
as the
guys.
young in the panel, I
Kumbukeni.
will take charge.
Okay.
Okay. No, I
Kumbukeni,
was
we
just
welcome you. Yeah, go on. Imagine a Kebelan crowd, we welcome you. Kumbukeni, we welcome you. Moya, we welcome you. Today's topic, the unholy marriage. The unholy marriage happening in South Africa. How did we get here? So we're just going to break it down. So, my sister, take it away.
We get here. You know, when this news came out, I wasn't here. So I've been floating in space from June 1 with my sister's funeral. After which I rushed to Ghana and they didn't have news that features South Africa. They have all the Western channels in that hotel.
Are you
And there
serious?
was not, and yeah, there was nothing,
Yeah, that's a
nothing that
common thread.
focuses. Yeah.
Yeah, that's common.
So then I came back for a day last week, Thursday, and I left on Friday again. So Saturday morning, I walk into a meeting with Zambian MPs and I get accosted. And I'm thinking, what did I ever do? And then the Zambians told me, is this what we sacrificed for? Is this what the people have died for this? And I said, what are you talking about? Yeah, the ANC and the DA. I said, oh, please, guys, please. We told you in 94 that Mandela is selling out, and you didn't believe us. So the ANC hasn't rotted now. It rotted in 94, if not slightly before that.
Wow.
So I said to them, so you guys are the Thomases. You want to see the worms and you want to start smelling the stench to see that something is dead. The ANC has been a very anti-black organization for some time now. And they are also very unwelcoming to Pan-Africanism. I think I've tweeted once and I said it gives them diarrhea. They are not a Pan-African organization. So for me, my two sisters and brother, the writing was on the wall that if they get below the number that they need to hold a majority government, they will go into coalition. But I also knew that they are not going to choose the likes of MK or EFF or the other smaller black parties or your PA. I mean, I don't know. And I'm glad we have Moya on the channel. We have Ntsiki. I ask myself this question, Ntsiki. The people who died killing each other between ANC and IFP, that whole violence throughout that period, I ask myself, did they die in vain? Were they even supposed to die, those people? And then I ask myself another question. The struggle that was so long against white supremacy, just to come back and affirm white supremacy, you know, the people have voted and they didn't give DA a percentage that allows them to occupy your deputy minister and all these other crucial posts. But if that's where the ANC is right now, they think that the DA is more brotherly and the IFP is more brotherly to them than MK and EFF and your smaller parties, ATM, are, then that's who they are as a people. That's my take. But I just want to take us back again to another incident in Tsiki. when the PAC walked out of the ANC in the 60s, what was their qualm? The preamble of the Freedom Charter. South Africa belongs to all who live in it, both black and white.
Yeah.
Now, if this was seen in the 60s by Robert Mangaliswa Sobukwe, may he not rest, may he continue fighting from the grave.
Did you see that PAC joined? PAC joined?
Well, I saw something about the PAC saying...
PAC joined the alliance.
I know. I saw something, him saying, Unyoncho saying, oh yeah, I don't understand why people think this alliance is bad for black people. What if us black people are going to take over white people? And I'm just like,
how?
For a PAC leader, show me an instance in the history of the mixing when the two races came together in 1400. At that point of meeting when Europeans descended on us, show me an instance where our strategy has ever overrun them or won against them.
Those black people who changed the system from within.
Thank you. Also, show me an instance where we never cowered to whiteness. So you think that you are going to take the... No, the DA has already 4 strategies on how to submerge all of you Africans who are in alliance with it. And you are still answering Twitter messages and trying to justify yourself. They don't need to justify themselves. They're on the strategy already. Because remember, they've won. This is a win for the DA. To get a formal liberation movement to recognize you as a comrade is a win for you. So they are not sitting down trying to justify themselves, answer inquiries from that country, Zambians who are angry. From Zambia, I went to Tanzania. And again, Monday morning, when I walked into that room, there was over 16 countries in that meeting. When I walked into that room, I was accosted again. And me, I just throw my hands in the air and I say, excuse me, PAC 60s, Mandela, whom we all affirmed, in this very hall at TCDC, I was almost killed by 2 Nigerians in 2016, whom I told Mandela is a sellout and they wanted to eat me alive. So I said to the meeting there, in this very hall in 2016, I was accosted for pointing out what you guys are seeing in broad daylight today. Yeah. So please let me rest. Because you are now seeing the ANC for what it is, because you've been refusing to listen to us when we were telling you that the ANC has become anti-black and that the ANC through the CODESA talks actually lost it all. How could we have moved from the CODESA talks to anything that is revolutionary? I ask. How could we have?
Wow. So can I just jump in if you don't mind?
Go on, Ziki. Go.
You know, first I want to say that allegedly, what I heard in the streets, this is not my words, but what I heard in the streets from the PAC members, they were like, this is the most shallow leader we've ever had in the history of PAC. And I hate saying this, I'm completely embarrassed, but this is what I heard. I've had him on my platform, so please, sir, I apologize, but this is what I heard in the streets. So when you speak up to this thing where he thinks that there's a strategy to being captured, because what kind of power do they have that they're going to have power over white people? Like already they are in that situation because they've been bought, because they needed those millions that Oppenheimer donated to them. So essentially they sold us out then. And me, I want to know, Wuti, how come we need to unpack how come these rich white oligarchs would rather put money into politics and politicians as opposed to servicing the people, making sure there's schools, there's hospitals for people to go through, because the money is there, right? So why are they choosing? What does that actually mean? So anyways, I'm sure someone wants to jump in.
Hello, David.
Just quickly want to say,
how are you?
You're live, my brother. You're live. Are you okay to join in?
As
Can you hear me?
We can
As
hear you.
David
Okay.
joins,
Thank you.
our comrade, the Sankarist, as he joins, I just want to say, like you, Nzigi, I'm sorry because he's part of the network that I chair on illicit financial flows. And this is not about him as a person. He needs to look at this in a bigger way. This is about the struggle. It's about the birthright of our children. It's about our birthright. But it's also about politics, not party politics. You know, that's another thing I see bogs us down as a people. I'm not about party politics because at the end of the day, all parties are funded somewhere and whoever funds them, you know, calls the bidding. I'm more about politics. Let's talk politics. How can a former colonizer and a colonizer form an alliance? That's like slaves on a plantation forming an alliance with their slave master, you know, to transform the plantation. But they are still slaves. It's just, this has no words to describe, actually. If Zambians were crying when I met them on Friday, if Tanzanians were crying in the last 3 days I was with them, I ask myself, who else looks at this and just thinks, wow, South Africans, we knew you were stupid, but we never thought to this level.
So, not speaking specifically to what is happening in South Africa, but in general to what is happening in Ubuntu Africa. This is the reason why I say we cannot allow the invaders to continue settling, to continue feeling as if Ubuntu is their home, because it emboldens them to think that now they have governance power. It emboldens them to think that now they have rights and they can speak up and they can own and they have the right to do as they please. For us, like you said, Mama Kanyisile, for us to move from fighting for freedom, right, which is what 1994 is, and come to now we ourselves, and I've said this several times, we are in the way of our liberation. Black people right now, today, when Ubuntu are in the way of their liberation, because these are Black people who willingly welcomed white supremacy into their leadership. So, and we can talk all day until the lights go out, until the sun goes down. We can talk all day, but we need to be serious about how are we going to hold these people accountable? Are we just going back to our homes and acting like, okay, this happened, let's wait for 4 years, right? We have the same things happening everywhere. Are we just going to sit around and wait? What are we going to do? Is there a mechanism in the current South African constitution that allows you to go and say, no, we are disrupting this, we do not accept this government?
Before anybody says, I'm just going to add to what Nduku's saying there, because I'm looking, you said that basically they're getting themselves in the system. Let's not forget, they never left the system. They were there, basically controlling the money strings of how
they were controlling the system.
They were basically controlling the system.
And that's
obviously now that they're a lot more visible, but they've always been on the background. They've always pulled the apron strings in terms of who runs the governments all over Africa.
Yeah.
So the question, like you said, Mama, can you say that? Where do we go from here? Because basically, there's no liberation in Africa as we know it. We say it with our mouth, but physically, it doesn't exist. As Africans, where do we go from here?
You know what's said for me, Oladele, is that a lot of our liberation songs in the camps, in MK camps, were singing about the liberation of Africa. We understood that the liberation of South Africa should translate to the liberation of this continent because of the super economic infrastructure that South Africa had because of apartheid, you know, because they thought we are going nowhere, so let's build this up. So for me to see how that flip happened through the CODESA talks, but how also through the years, there's been, you know, a looking west totally, and just pretending that we weren't supported by communist countries, just pretending that we weren't supported. Angola, Zambia, and Tanzania, they gave their lives. As a matter of fact, Zambia liberated the whole of Southern Africa. So what we do post-liberation, it's the same thing SWAPO is doing. I mean, okay, they haven't gone into cahoots with white people, but I mean, in terms of delivering to blackness and transforming and staying true to revolutionary ideals, It's the same thing. ZANU-PF, Frelimo, ANC, the one of Mozambique, SWAPO, it's the same thing. It's almost like there's a curse on Southern Africa. Are we going to wake up one day and see a truly liberated Southern African country? Because I believe it should start here. You know, it should start here. I know that people say, oh, it was Ghana 1957. Yes, they were the first, but it's like the spiritual calling is on the South. This should start here and move up. And maybe these white people know that and we don't know it. But yeah, I truly believe that Southern Africa is like the umbilical cord to this total liberation we are looking for in Africa. But Southern Africans themselves aren't aware, one, two, but the parties in power themselves are not working that way. But I want to bring in a third element before I bring it back. And I know the question you asked, Oladele, is there something that can be done? I think I want us to answer that in the end, once we've interrogated all the pros and cons. I think a third thing that I want to raise here is the electorate themselves. If you don't vote for Pan-African leaders, how then do you expect Pan-African policies after that? It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. How the PAC even died. I mean, all the eggs were put in one basket. The basket. PAC wasn't supported by anybody except China. The whole West supported the ANC. Maybe right there we should have seen that something here has teeth, but it doesn't bite.
Yep.
The one thing I'm observing too, and I'm going to ask this of you both, is why are we, or everyone,
and
David, yes, please, David, you as well. Why are we seeking representation from people who we know will not represent us? What do I mean by that? We're talking about elites, right? We have been told the symptoms of elites and who they are serving. We're talking about white people. Like, we should not expect the ANC to choose wisely because it has never shown that it is for the people. We should not expect the leading elites to choose for the people, because why I'm saying that is because it is choosing against their own interest to support people. It is choosing against their own interest to bring the EFF, because what the EFF is saying is that things are going to be equitable. What does that mean? You're going to lose your Mercedes-Benzes, your big mansions. You're going to have to share this wealth with the local, with the regular people. They don't want that. So I can see why ANC, people who are putting money in their pockets, would want to not bring in people who are going to take out that money. Like, logically, it makes sense. These are criminals. The only way they can sustain their criminality is to have criminals as their partners.
Somebody said something very interesting in the meeting on debt that I attended in Tanzania the last 3 days. Someone reminded us and said, please don't forget that what you call Zambia, South Africa, etc. today were originally formed to be companies.
Yes.
That's why the company that came here was the Dutch East India Company.
Yep.
These were companies. So behind the curtain, they haven't changed. They are companies.
All African countries
that they looked up the South
companies.
African registration number on Google and they found it.
Yeah.
So sorry, Brother Oladele, continue.
No, I was just saying all African countries were companies anyway, all over the continent. They were all, even in India, they were all companies. They were set up as companies.
It was a company,
so it was a business.
And it's still a business.
It still is.
Mm-hmm. It's still a business. Neoliberalism does not allow it not to be a business.
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm so upset. Are you seeing the comment section there?
No.
But I'm wondering if someone, Gogo Tuli is saying, I'm wondering if someone should not summon Tata Mangaliso Sobukwe to hit us with a national haunting of Parliament.
I think we should.
Thank you. That's what I was intimating to, but I think that's a conversation we should have off the screens. We should seriously have a meeting and we should talk about this off the screen. So yes, Gogo Tuli, we're hearing you and we agree, and we should gather outside of this space that has Wazungus listening to us.
So
David, I don't know. Go on.
David,
you want to say something, my brother?
Very rude, actually. I would David Vele.
Yeah, no, just to introduce myself, I thought Ma'am Kanisile will, introduce me.
Let me
Nicely.
introduce you, my comrade.
Thank you, comrade.
I did, in a way, David is a known Sankarist in South Africa. Um, he's a lawyer by profession. He's with UNISA. He chairs what is called the Black Forum, which is a trade union in a way, of the staff that works at UNISA, and they truly fight for for their staff against the injustices that can happen, because at the end of the day, we run a capitalist system. So an employees will always, be given a raw deal by the employer in one way or the other. You also work with the Thabo Mbeki Foundation, David, I think.
Embarrassingly so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'm so
that's
embarrassed.
David. David is
Yeah.
a writer also. He's written a lot of articles about the state of our politics and the state of our economy. So he's very resolute. He's not shy. David is a person I would identify with in public. I'm not ashamed of him, as I am ashamed of the PAC leadership right now.
Yeah, chicken. No, thank you so much. Except that the story of the Black Forum is no longer what you think it is. It's been I don't know whether captured or what.
Hijacked.
PAC is always like black organizations are always tentative. You're never sure. You're not guaranteed of their tomorrow. So
Wow.
it's very painful. So indeed, I am with the Thabo Mbeki school at UNISA. So I consider myself an employee of UNISA, not of Thabo Mbeki, which is
Yes.
the correct way. So I don't want to. I'm embarrassed to be, really associated with that. But what can we do? Just wanted
Yeah.
to talk about that aspect of these colonial states we have today in Africa as companies. It's indeed true. The whole issue of which scares me of the African continental free trade area. Someone was actually saying, be careful as to what that may become, because if it does not become truly Pan-African, it can become the dream of Cecil John Rhodes, as in the Cape to Cairo kind of venture, and that one scares me. And on the issue of this, whether elections or the electoral politics, this so-called democracy can give us liberation. For me, I've argued like for the longest of time that I think it's earliest around 2012. I had taken the view that the the Constitution of South Africa, this celebrated one, it's a devil because it's full of lies. And I feel that I'm not so sure whether we can really get true liberation within this system. And after this so-called government of national unity came about, and we are shocked by our PAC joining, and now I see like the so-called breaking news here that UDM has joined. Uh, so I feel like we're not going to go anywhere. But a young man earlier today, when we're talking about the PAC joining this government of national unity, so-called, was saying, no, but it means we have to look differently and consider taking over by using a coup. But he says, unfortunately, we don't have soldiers in South Africa that can actually rise to the occasion. So that's where my position is in as far as this. It's just an element of frustration
Yeah.
when looking at this whole scenario. It's sad. We'll keep on talking, I guess. We'll keep on talking, but I think the power of the stomach, as it were, it's
Yeah.
very, very it's yeah, it's really powerful. It's a powerful power, unlike the powerless power that black people have in this so-called democracy. Yeah, that's my contribution.
And that power of the stomach irritates the daylight out of me, David, because truly some of us have sacrificed, eh? I would be far. I don't have a mansion. I don't have millions in my bank account. As a matter of fact, from time to time, I'm tempted, Ntsigi, to just put a tweet out to your people and say, guys, I think I need 1,000 rands this month. And I shouldn't be here if I also just decided that my stomach was prettier than the revolution.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be here, not with my education. And if I should say it myself, and it's not out of pride, not with my intelligence, I shouldn't be sitting here. I shouldn't be in this state economically. And another thing, David, I just ask myself, honestly, was Steve Biko the last of the young people who's going to be another Traore, another Sankara, another Senegalese leader? What's his surname? The one that's just won. I mean, are we going to keep on just recycling mediocrity because we want a sports car, because we want a townhouse, because we want to be able to order food from Uber Eats, the same food that's killing us, actually? So we are going to be recycling mediocrity in terms of leadership. But me, I want to take the electorate again, Ma-Africa. Electorate. You can't vote for non-Pan-Africanists and then expect Pan-African policies and laws and principles. It's not possible.
But ANC was captured long ago, like you said.
Yes.
Correct.
And we've been away.
We've been away from the beginning.
Yeah.
Since Codesa, we were aware.
Yes.
It's not quite, because even when we look at the ANC today, who are the leaders that we can look at and be like, okay, yeah, that's a credible leader. Wow, yes. Just look at the formation at the moment.
There isn't one.
Ntsigi, the day we joined, the day we took an anthem, and I hear Zimbabwe has changed it too. That's why when Mnangagwa was posting that I'm at Waterkloof to attend the inauguration or opening of parliament, I tweeted and I said, birds of the same feather flock together. You guys are teams. When attended, we are the same. So yeah, I was talking about the anthem. I mean, our anthem was the same with Zimbabwe, with Zambia, with Tanzania. I hear Zimbabwe has changed it. It befits them to can change it. Zambia and Tanzania have kept it. It befits us too that we have changed it because we are ruled by sellouts. We changed it too. So for me, the day we joined the STEM Fund South Africa to our anthem, I knew, Oladele, that there is no hope going forward. The essence of the STEM was that this is a Boere fatherland. It is their land, and they're going nowhere. The essence of our anthem was about Africa and its liberation. How do you join the two?
Exactly.
That's like saying there's a preaching prostitute, a gangster pastor, a drunken psychologist.
If we know all of this, then why are we just so complacent? Is it the trauma? Is it the unhealed trauma that is making us just submit to what's going on? Like, why the silence around the pain? Right?
I'm glad you're asking that question. And as you notice, I'm being quiet because I'm exhausted. I am mentally, physically, spiritually exhausted. It feels like we're talking about the same story. I feel like Ferris Bueller, and I'm waking up and it's the same day over and over again. And we're talking about the same thing, but no one is doing anything. I will tell you, recently, I have been in talks with some pretty radical people talking about let's do this and let's do that. Do you know I haven't heard from those people in 2 weeks?
That's the challenge, sis. Nobody wants to talk.
Calling us all out. I'm calling all of us out. I am.
Yep.
Like, give me a moment to vent because I'm really actually frustrated now with all of us. Because part of what people are doing, Mama Kanyisile, is this is mental trauma that you encourage people who are young and who want results now. Okay, we are in the fight, but you're deceiving them. And then they find out that you're truly not in the fight. ANC has told you in their own website, they want a multiracial South Africa. They have said that in their website. They have
Rainbow
said,
Nation.
we want to join with white people.
Sorry, Nduku, my sister. The ANC has gone with a party whose leader said colonialism civilized Africa. And while there was an uproar on Black Twitter, did she actually apologize, Nsigi, or she stood her
She
ground?
will never, Helen Zille, apologize.
She never.
You will never get an apology from an arrogant Mlungu.
So we are now in cahoots with someone who thinks that we were monkeys and hanging on trees before, until whiteness descended on us and made us human beings. And then the PAC leader is a nerve to tell us that, oh, why do you think the DA will take us over? Why don't you think we are the ones who will take the DA over? You haven't even taken yourselves over. I mean, how are you going to take the DA over?
Yeah, I think we really underestimate the power of the stomach in many ways. It's so scary.
What is this?
That is my starting point. So when I look at every issue, I look at the stomach and I also look at the race issue. So
what is this calling the power of the stomach, David? Please say more.
And I'm just like saying that people are not centered. We don't have a center, and if you don't have a center and a foundation that is rock solid, then you are easily swayed. And by the stomach, I mean things that can entice you. There's not, for instance, if we are going to be particular around this whole issue of joining Helen Zille, hegemony, there is nothing in the ANC, PAC, UDM now, and everyone else that says they're joining that thing on principle. Everyone individually and collectively, they're joining that in order for their own, aggrandizement, their own, benefit. It's not about the principle. It's not about being African. So that's the loss of center, and it hurts me. And therefore, talking about the ANC and all these people, it's definitely exhausting. And I remember saying this a number of times to say, whenever somebody asks me to comment about what the ANC does, my response is always that any reflection or discourse on the ANC amounts to exhaustion. So it's just sad. So that's what I'm saying. And even us, like in these academic institutions or wherever, and I've actually said that publicly, even in the university, to say we are complicit because we derive our own currency from being part of the colonized world. So if I identify myself in as a professor or doctor, or you trace this thing, and people like it, they can say, no, I'm decolonial and all that, but then I say, but why do you have those blessings of whiteness in terms of which you identify yourself as you don't want to shed them off, but you keep talking rhetoric, decolonial and all these kind of things. So at the end of the day, my conclusion has always been people are controlled up by their stomach, the benefits, and the taste of whiteness and all that. And white people are aware about this. They know how to divide us. And I mean, how do you capture the oldest, so-called oldest African liberation movement? You just send a Trojan horse there, and then it just does the business for you. So I believe that if you're a member of the ANC, you're actually a member of Helen Zille. Simple.
Thank
so
you,
it hurts.
It hurts. It hurts, David, when the Zambians accosted me and they said people died for this. They said, Kanyisile, what have you done? What have you people done? And I said, well, I'm not a member of the ANC, but I'm South African. It represents me. But I'm grieving with you because For Ndugu and Oladele, who might not be aware, in 83, 84, 85, I think going on to 80, past 88, let's just say the 80s decade from 83 onwards, you would have what you called mass funerals in South Africa.
Yeah.
Johannesburg could be burying 100 people at the same time. Pretoria, 200. Somewhere else in the Free State, the same number. We actually came to a point where we gave them a name. We called them mass funerals. And I think that's where we even lost respect for death and fear for death. Because before in South Africa, when a funeral procession passed, people would kneel or bend in the street to allow it to pass. But we were burying so much in the 80s, it wasn't possible. And I think we cried so much. I don't cry in funerals. It's very hard for me to cry in funerals. Even for my sister's one, I cried before. Because we cried until we couldn't cry. Just burying became the norm. It's like you asked yourself on Wednesday, where's the mass funeral this weekend? So I ask myself, those people died for what? Actually, as I sit here, I evoke the spirits and the blood of all those people that died, believing in the ANC and its trueness, to just rise up and stifle every false leader in that organization. May they not see peace by day. May they not see sleep by night. May they be stripped naked as wolves in front of the nation so we can see them truly for what they are.
So we were all talking about how digital colonization is the next big threat, right? And I'm looking in the chat, and someone said that John Steinhuisen, that's the DA's head, right? Him has been assigned minister of electricity.
To give back all those evergreen contracts back to white people.
Thank you. That's
yeah.
This is painful. Hey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Go on, David.
Yo, this is painful.
Yeah.
But to also make sure,
why Nabashai, guys? I wish we all spoke the same language, but why, like, Sfiganin to that point where Zikalenje? Because I keep finding Utitina was so ready to attack each other. You know, what is that?
And even with what we are doing now, we are going to be under attack so much, you, me, and David, in this country. We are going to be attacked, but they will not attack whiteness. So you're right. And the funny thing is, Ntsiki, we are paraded as the most revolutionary, as the people who toy, as the people who fight for their rights. And I'm just like, no.
They don't treat us like that.
Yeah, no. We are the type of slaves who are fighting for Sunday off so they can go to church. You know, not fighting to be liberated from the plantation. Because that's what it looks like. The last 30 years have proved us to be those people. On a slave plantation, we want Sunday off. And not because we want to rest, because we feel for our bodies, but so we can go to church. The rest of the days, we are fine being driven with a whip by the cracker.
As David was saying, one of the powers of the Minister for Electricity is to require that new generation capacity must be established through a tendering procedure which is fair, equitable, transparent.
Oh my God.
Provide for private sector participation.
Oh no. Oh no.
So
IPP.
Privatization, basically.
So now you see, it seems like a simple Minister for Electricity, but it's literally gateway to access to private multinationals.
Yeah.
Can I tell you what I'm thinking?
You read
what you read. Can I tell you what I think? I wouldn't be shocked if the ANC actually had signed for this on a dotted line through the CODESA talks, the undeclared minutes. I wouldn't be shocked if they were, you know, Tupac talks about us, like how they gave him 7 years and he didn't believe it. But when the 7 years came through, he could see that, my God, I am dying here. So I wouldn't be shocked if the ANC had signed for a 30-year lease to just, you know, feel themselves also, feel like the boss and have the big house and, you know, have the say. And they always knew that in 30 years, this thing will be taken back. Because this party's votes have been dwindling. with every election, but nobody amongst them seemed worried. How's that possible? That's not how you run a political party. That's not how you run
But
yourself.
yeah, but Cyril sounded very happy with this result.
Yes.
I think it was like, if you check the vote language, I mean, he was just not worried in celebrated this law. But now the next thing is about.
Sorry, David, before you continue, I actually have a clip I was sent by ANC members themselves showing the NEC celebrating the 40% and singing. I have a clip.
Guys, please look at that comment by C. Brackens. In America, they've begun blocking access to many of the websites and channels.
I'm glad
that
someone said that. Thank you
news
so much.
straight from you.
Thank you so much, Bracken. So today I was trying to put up Kumbukeni's merchandise, and when I put 2 items in our products, when I went to see whether it's up, it says in the United States my website is not allowed to produce merchandise.
Wow.
Kumbukeni in the United States, Kumbukeni is not allowed to show merchandise. So we cannot show our products. And you can all see what Kumbukeni does. We are blocked in the United States to make revenue through our channel, Kumbukeni.
Wow.
You know, this thing is bigger than Nino Brown, guys. I remember that movie. It's bigger than Nino Brown because here's another thing. How is it that I need a lengthy process to get a visa to go to the UK, to go to America, to go to all these places, but they don't need visas to come here? How's that possible that a Burkina Faso person needs a visa to come here, but an American doesn't need a visa to come here?
Thank you for having this conversation, Mama Kanyisile.
Who have been ministers of foreign relations and what do they call it in South Africa? Foreign relations and what? DECO, international relations and cooperation. Who have been the ministers? Because where they are sitting right now, I hope that they rot in themselves. Because how have they not addressed the visa issue? How are other African countries still needing visa to come here? And don't tell me because we need them to. We need to lead by example and show them we are more mature and more Pan-African. And also not this rubbish that Kenya did, telling everybody we are going to scrap the visa. Meanwhile, you must apply online and still pay.
No, not even that. No. Kenya did it making you think that they were allowing Black people to come in, right? But no, it's everyone, including Mzungu. And all you pay is the $32 or is it $35 identity something to come in. In Kenya, some of the visas are going for $300+. Yes. The minimum is $100 and something. You multiply the exchange, that's multiplied by 130 right now. That is more than 10,000 Kenya shillings. I'm telling you right now, when I was at home last year, 10,000 Kenya shillings was not even filling my cart with groceries. And they're expecting Kenyans who now currently have no money to go and pay that for visa. So I'm glad this is another conversation we need to have. Why are we as Wana Ubuntu? And I'm telling, this is where I hope we take the conversation. We cannot continue talking about governments. We have to bring them down. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We have to talk about bringing them down. Because this conversation of what can we... No.
I'm also just so tired. I'm also just so tired of standing up and shouting Viva Sankara, Viva Patrice, Viva Nyerere, Viva. Where are the Vivas that were supposed to follow after them?
The legacies are gone.
That's why I said, so have we accepted that the revolution is dead, Pan-Africanism is dead, there's no Afrocentricity, we'll never decolonize, that we are going to be neoliberalists until the grave? Then all the people who died, to whom we sold these false ideals, really should just rise up and choke all of us while we go about our day. They must visit us at night so we lack sleep. And they must take our peace during the day.
Because right now, everything that we believe in, everything that we fought for is dead. Yep. Everything, the economics, the politics, the education, basically, we basically conquered all over every facet of our life. Even our agriculture, our food is conquered. So as African people, where do we go from here? Because there's nothing free about us. We're in Africa, but we're enslaved on our continent right now. There's nothing about us that's free at all. We're just talking, but we're not in control of nothing. And this is my frustration. We're not in control of anything of our lives, nothing. I got angry with the GMO situation in Nigeria yesterday. We are not free. We think we're free, but what are we free about? What was free about us? Nothing.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here, guys?
Yeah.
Oladele, I think part of the problem is we don't understand what liberation truly is. We don't understand what liberation
But
truly
my sister, do we really want to know?
Hold on. We don't understand what it really takes. To fight for liberations means to be okay with being called a criminal. You are literally signing up that I am criminal, because that is literally what it is to seek for liberation for Wana Ubuntu today. You seeking for liberation for people who look like you and me is going against all the laws that are currently in place, including the ones in our nations, because they're all accommodating Wazungu. And but I don't think we are ready to call ourselves criminals and accept that we must be criminals in order to fight for our liberation. All of us want, I can't participate in that Nduko because I need a license for this. I can't participate in that Nduko because I'm going to lose my job. I can't participate in that because I have to. So if we're all doing that, we're never going to be liberated. We have to be comfortable with being criminal in order to cross that river to liberation, because that's what it's going to take.
Guys, we cannot be comfortable in this system for us to be free. This system that they created is a distraction. As long as you want to be acknowledged by the system, you are never, ever going to be free. A lot of us must be on LinkedIn, the professionals. You want to be, have your title, your DDD, your everything. You're basically a participant of the colonial system. There's nothing, everything you're doing is basically a distraction to stop you from thinking how to free yourselves. And the moment you keep following these systems, you think you're free. But my brother, look at Africa today. There's nothing free about us, guys. I'm frustrated because I'll be talking right now. And I ask these questions. Guys, where do we go from here? Everything you're doing is contrary to the freedom that you think you seek. It's not there. All you're doing is participating in the capitalist system. I'm better. I got a car, I got a house. There's no liberation. These just are trinkets that's basically keeping you distracted for you to see clearly. This is where we are.
This is where we go from here. Let me tell you all. And you can call me radical. You can call me crazy. But this is where we go from here. And if you're not willing to go from here, don't even call me. Don't tell me I want to participate. Don't even bother. Just let me die in peace, knowing that all my people sold us out and they're not ready to fight for liberation. We have to take the governments we know as they are today down. It's the only way. We cannot work within them. We cannot negotiate. We cannot vote. We can't vote Black people in them. There's not enough Black people that are going to cleanse the foundation of white supremacy that all governments today are founded on.
All African governments are compromised. They're all compromised.
Sorry to detract a bit, because we must keep interacting with our audience. So I'm seeing the two conversations on top right now. I'll start with the first one. I think the main problem is that we do not have a media house by Africans for Africans. Nsiki also copy the one below, says no, everything isn't dead. I think that person hit the nail on the head. When you said, why are we just compromising Ndugu? It's because the education system has dumbed Africans down. From the 60s to date, there's been incrementally a decrease in the value of education. So you are stupefied through the education system, and then you are bombarded by Western media that upholds whiteness and white supremacy. Western media that's here to affirm the story of Helen Ziller, that colonialism civilized us. So battered between the two, a weak mind truly does not see anything wrong in the ANC getting married to the DA. Because, I mean, it's globalization. They don't realize globalization and neoliberalism and neocolonialism are actually the same thing. They're just playing with words.
Exactly.
So, to a mind that has been dumbed down and bombarded by Western media, globalization is a very sexy term. So they'll tell you, oh, no, it's globalization, move on. You people are war-strung. We are hooked on yesterday, move on. It's today. We've earned freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's that lot too that is keeping us, because they claim we've earned freedom. But how can you say we've earned freedom when you have people on the streets in Kenya saying they're being oppressed and they're done? How can you say that? You have a whole lot of people in Kenya right now in the streets telling us that they're not free. So how can you, in your right mind as a Black person, unless you're a Negropean, and that is literally what you are, a Negropean, which means you appear Negro on the outside, but you're carrying a European soul. That is what that means. You're doing for the bidding of Europeans, and therefore you are a Negropean.
So there was also a tweet, I think, which is worth talking about. It was below this one, Ziggy. The person says, no, not everything is dead. The fact that we are holding this conversation and there are others who think like us, I'm summarizing, the person is a glimmer of light that not everything is dead. I think there is an element of truth in that. But the people must just understand we are so frustrated. I am tired of pebbles of enlightenment. I'm tired of pebbles being woke. I want to see an ocean of woke Africans. Not
Yes.
pebbles
That's what we need.
Yes, man.
drain. No, not a little streamlet that they just bring a big truck and they drain it dry. I want an awakening that was there in the 50s in this continent and the
We need it.
60s.
So here's the thing: we all of us are on LinkedIn right now. If you want an awakening, if you're serious about wanting an awakening, which means you're going to have to give time to it. If you're still in your, let's just call them Western jobs, because they all are Western jobs, because they're serving Western interests. All of them, even on the continent. I don't care what you do, whether you babysit or what, you're all serving Western interests. So if you're serious about it, whoever you have access to, Ntsiki, Mama Kanyisile, Oladele, David, or myself, send emails. Let our emails.
Don't remove that comment, please. Read it out, because it's
Which
one
one?
of the it's one of the where to from now. The person who says,
let our DMs be overflowing with messages. No, seriously, like if you're serious about doing this, let us have the problem of coordinating, because we have so many people volunteering to finally be true warriors. Mama Kanyisile.
Yeah, the person says part of the problem is there's no continental platform that is African driven. Most Africans know more about European geography than their own. They want to perfect Anglo languages at a loss of their own mother tongue.
But you know,
so I agree with the person. I've always argued, and our predecessors, our leaders argued also in the 60s, and then Jingas before them, in the 1400s. You can't deal with a single empire in Queen Jinga's time. You can't deal with a single country in our time in Africa. It has to be a continental movement. For as long as it's a country thing, it's easy for them to buy that country or to just attack it. I pray for the life of Traore every day. Ramaphosa should be ashamed. I don't pray for his life. Honestly, I don't care what happens to him. But I sit there every day and I worry about Traore. I pray for his safety. I pray that he's kept. I pray that the fate that befell Sankara doesn't befall him. I pray that, he is able to implement all the programs that he has for the liberation of Burkina Faso. I pray that he totally cleanses that country off of the French systems. So, there is no continental movement. I agree with this person. So, I think part of what we should be doing here is to establish that continental. We need a movement that is not funded by INGOs and all these other big names of Europe, because whoever funds it owns it. We need a homegrown movement. Because during the struggle, when people, who funded the Mau Mau? They were not funded by anybody. They were self-funding. This issue of being funded also is just another chain around our feet.
I recommend, as you say that, Mama Kanyisile, I recommend that everyone grab this book and read it. I recommend it so that you know what seeking liberation truly means. Get this book and read it.
What book is that?
We can't see the title.
It is Kenya's Freedom Struggle, The Dedan Kimathi Papers by Maina wa Kenyatta. I'm going to put it in the chat. Get this book and read it if you truly want to understand what it's going to take to be liberated.
You know what?
Especially if you're one of the people who will be sending me a message saying that you want to participate, read this, because I am at a no tolerance, no grace point right now. I do not empathize with anyone who's trying to accommodate the Western way.
I'll add to what you're saying there. Basically, for me,
write the name down, please, because Dedan Kimathi is a hero in the in the league of Sangara, of Traore, of Lumumba, of Nkrumah. So please write it down for us. Sorry,
Okay.
Brother Oladile.
Yeah, that's okay. What I was going to say is, in order for us to fight this liberation, we cannot participate in the systems of the colonizers. This is one of the biggest challenges facing Africans. We want to be seen in this system. The capitalist system is working against us. The religion is working against us. The education is working against us. The politics is working against us. Now our food is compromised. So everything that we're part of is detrimental to our development. And then we're not one with a natural. We don't even know who we are anymore as people. Like Nduku said, we become Negropeans because they've brainwashed us with their curriculum system. In Africa today, there's no African history.
You know what's
Big challenge.
frustrating me? Oladile, what is frustrating me is we're gonna sit here and go hurrah on that, all of us. But we really honestly do not understand. I lost my job because I was agitating. I'm having a hard time getting a job because I continue.
By the way.
Like I said, this morning I went to add a product to our Kumbukeni channel and found out, to my surprise, and I'm still going to look into it, that my channel is banned from showing products in the United States. So here's the thing that people are not understanding and people are not willing to do. And people in the community that we are building are giving me this excuse, and a lot of them have left because now they realize what I have been telling them that we need to do. They're all saying, I need to put food on the table. They're all saying, I have children. They're all saying, I need to keep my house. People don't understand that this, we all must be willing to lose our jobs. That's where it gets. And we all, the only way we can survive that situation is those of us who have independent money. Those of us who already have money to support those who are falling. We don't get that. This has to be a movement. And you don't support asking, why is she not going to look for a job? You don't support asking, but she's the one who got herself in trouble by talking the way she talks.
Yeah.
Talking the way I'm talking is not just out of being strong-headed. Talking the way I'm talking is realizing that we are in a cycle of exploitation and oppression. And I, as a human being who values humanity, cannot continue to be okay with that cycle.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean, our children's children will still be fighting the same struggles.
Yep.
If Nkrumah woke up and saw what we have become, he'll just shake his head and just decide, I better stay dead.
Mama Kanyisile, I put out a GoFundMe. I don't even care who judges what I'm saying, but here's a good example. I put out a GoFundMe and told everyone I was losing my house because I've not been able to pay it since I lost my job. All it takes is for all of you, even the one who's struggling the most with the cheapest, with the least income, to give $1. $1. If 10,000 of you gave $1, I would have had 10,000 to pay my debt and continue building the organization we are building so that we can build financial liberation. What am I saying? We need to build financial systems that are not connected to the system, that will not go down if we upset the system. You find out Kumbukeni cannot sell their product through the website on YouTube because the United States will now reach out to Nduku and ask, Nduku, send me those products. How else can I buy it? Nduku, I know someone who can help you show those products here. Contact them. We have to learn how to find the loopholes in the system so that we can get out and support each other. Don't just sit back and say, but she can go look for a job. If I look for a job, if Mama Kanyisile looks for a job, if Mtsiki looks for a job, the fight is over. Those of us you are appreciating, who are truly fighting, will be done. And let's all just sit back and watch it fall apart.
Yeah. Actually, I think that's what I feel like I'm in that mode. Because I'm like, fuck it. Because they keep quiet when the court cases come and the lawsuits because you talk too much. The same people that you're trying to protect, they look the other way and they don't.
Why was she talking like that? Why was she talking like that? She got herself in trouble.
Yeah. So I'm just like, oh, okay, if that's what you want. It's so interesting what you were saying earlier, Mam Kanya, about Guti. You're too brilliant not to be a top executive in some business, right? So it's just a wild, wild thing where you're just like, where you know you're talented, you know you're brilliant, but you can see that the system has actually deliberately blocked you. And then everybody else continues and minds their own business. And then we've got this mediocre society that's been created. It's just wild. It's wild.
Like I'll give you an example. For any NGO out there, I'm not good for donor money because I'm too critical,
Yeah.
and I criticize neoliberalism, and I criticize international NGOs actually, because some of them, their agenda in Africa is more regime change than anything.
Yes.
So it's hard for any NGO out there, even those that like me, to can employ me fully. I can't be employed by government. I've tried that. I mean, it's too stifling. It's just going through the motions and we're not changing anything. Imagine working for the municipality in South Africa with all the lack of service delivery. Like, what the fuck are you waking up to go to work to do?
I love when
Except to just earn money in your bank account and buy a car. What difference are you making? I can't work for private sector because I will not be exploited. So it's like, at the end of the day, it's the system. I can't be in academia because I'm not going to teach the history of Jan van Riebeck. I'm not interested.
thank you.
But neither am I interested to teach the history that says the ANC liberated South Africa, because they didn't. The people of South Africa liberated themselves. The ANC was just a vehicle. The struggle was fought inside here by people with spades and forks and dustbin lids whom we do not recognize. So when we are woke, whichever way you look at it, you can't fit. You are either a round in a square or a square in a round.
Yeah.
I was saying, Mama Kanyisile, yesterday, earlier this week, I had to go to court for my case. And I was sitting there. It's very frustrating that in court, sometimes people lose their cases just because of communication. They don't understand what is being said.
And technicalities.
Right? It was so
I'm in
upsetting.
the same room as you, babe.
Right?
Continue. Yeah.
I was sitting in the back because there's many cases the way they have it set up, and so the cases are going in the front, and you can hear, because it's open to the public, you can hear what's going on. This lady was sitting there; it was her case, and the judge cannot advise you because he's not a lawyer. But he keeps leading to tell her what your argument is not hitting the point. So basically, she was risking losing her home, like many of us are, and she had received an email from her lawyer saying that the owner of the property had made an offer. You need to sign a lease. You need to pay this amount. If you do that, we will agree to give you the offer. She never responded, I accept. She never responded, I accept. But she signed the lease and she sent the money. So the judge is sitting there because she gave the email as her proof. The judge is saying, I don't see your accept. The whole time I'm thinking, can I raise my hand to help? Can I raise my hand? But I know I can't because I'll be held in contempt.
In contempt, yeah.
But I want to say to the sister, say to the judge, I may not have responded to say I accept, but I signed the lease and I paid the money, and by default that is acceptance, especially because those people took the lease and the money.
Yes.
So
yeah,
it's done. The judge makes the judgment against her, and we go outside and I tell her that's what she should have argued, to go speak to the judge. Now the judge says it's too late because I already made the judgment.
You know what that this also speaks to? It speaks to a system that white people brought to Africa for us, where they've got their own rules, that they only know what the rules are, and they keep changing the rules, flip-flopping, and then we don't even understand the language, and then we get there to this thing called court, and we don't even know what prima facie is or what, and it's just rubbish. I've been through the system and it's rubbish.
Yeah.
And also, and David is a lawyer. He can talk to us.
Thank you.
It's not based on restorative justice.
No, it's not.
It's not restorative justice.
Nope.
That's why, there are a lot of people in prison who went there just because they had lousy lawyers. There's a lot of people walking outside and wearing the most expensive perfume and suit, and you get close to them and you think this is a brother. No, that's a hardened criminal. They just had a good lawyer. That's why they're walking the streets.
So my view on this issue is that the whole system does show that there is no justice, because the concept of a top lawyer should not exist if there is justice. Because for there to be a top lawyer suggests that somebody must afford that lawyer to argue in a different way. But then if we were to adopt our own system as Africans, wouldn't be having these kind of things. And it also answers the question of how limited we are in terms of explaining and understanding what liberation is. because it's not
Exactly.
about just fitting in into the system. It's about your culture. It's about the legal system. It's about your knowledge and all these aspects. But what do we do? What people have designed these things, what we just fit in, and we think we are liberated. And that is why even now, when we refer to the African states, whether we call it South Africa, Zimbabwe, or what, that's just defined by somebody else. And if you say the United States, or you're actually endorsing what has been given you. And each state, when it was created on the basis of the, what people's thinking, and they just left it like that, and then we assimilated in it, and then we think we liberated. We're dying for something that is actually defined for us. And that's so when you get into it, we're not able to arrive at liberation in the sense of how we understand liberation to be. So it's very, very frustrating. The more you get woke, maybe in this group, is the more we're inviting frustration, because that which we want in the true sense is not what the electorate, the people out there want. So
And
that's the
that's
problem.
but it's
Dissonance.
here is again, that's exactly what it is, because most people out there are not accepting that we are under attack.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Denial.
yes, yes,
Right? Most
yes.
people. So, and if they don't accept we are under attack, they're not going to come to war. They're not going to
They've
participate in
arrived.
necessary war.
They've arrived.
If they think everything is okay, we won't
They've
have
arrived.
Mm.
So
So
here's my
if
David, quickly, and you can come in. And I appreciate that we have a lawyer. And again, Mama Kanyisile, it's divine. It's a good thing we have a lawyer, because clearly David is going to be needed today. Here's my thing, David. Let me ask our people. Are you producing the food that you want? Do you still have your grandma's granary? Can you still go home and get maize and grow the maize that you want? Are you going to the grocery store and spending so much and getting so little compared to 5 years ago? Are you able to pick any school you want to? Are you able, and I'm talking globally, whether you're in the United States or okay, are you able to buy a house wherever you want to? If you're saying no to all those answers, you're not liberated, and we are under attack. David.
They're in
So-
denial. I don't know why.
I think my understanding is that we we don't understand things. There's a lot of dissonance, so that we celebrate things that are not what they're supposed to be. For instance, we celebrate rights instead of liberation. So on many occasions, I've actually said to people that you can say you've got the right to land or a right to health, but it's about economic power. If you can have the right to go to a particular place, but do you have the means to access that particular place?
Is that place yours? Do the people
Is
who
that
own it?
place yours? Exactly. So our understanding of freedom or liberation has been twisted and distorted. Unfortunately, we perpetuate this throughout, and to a point where we have lost our idea of what is it to be having a relationship with the land, for instance. So it's a very, very big problem, because we are operating in a foreign system which we have embraced or been conditioned to embrace. So we need to get to a level of consciousness where we see things for what they are. So we must problematize. Whenever somebody says freedom, we say, what do you mean by freedom? And that's when we'll get to the crux of things.
I'm also getting tired of seeing books. As much as I was recommending a book, I'm also getting tired of seeing books. I have very many fake Negroes reading books daily. They can quote any book and any writer, but they're the most useless human beings right now when it comes to fighting for liberation.
Just like they would quote the Bibles.
You have no idea. If you've seen Nduku hanging out with someone and she's not hanging out with that person anymore, just know that that person, wink, wink, is not truly for liberation. That is why Nduku is not hanging out with them anymore. I'm telling you this. So I'm also getting frustrated with seeing books, because you're not using what you're reading to do what you're reading is telling you to do. You read a book, you put it aside, and all you want to do is quote it all day and look smart. No. Read your book, go to the garden and grow crops, because it told you that. Food liberation. Read your book and stop being comfortable with your job and be okay with losing it for liberation. This is literally what I'm saying. That is what it's going to take. We all need to be okay with losing our jobs.
They're not ready.
Yeah, but people don't want to lose their job because we're in the matrix, a survival system that keeps us in this loop, and that's why people they don't want to do that, because they have to fit into this system, and we're in a vicious circle. The question is, how do we get away from here?
But brother Oladele, what we are not asking ourselves is what Ndugu said before. Until when, then therefore.
Yeah.
We all need to have a car. We all need to have a home for our kids. No child wants to be tossed from place to place because the parent couldn't get them a proper house because they are against the system.
Yeah.
We all want to afford to order Uber Eats once in a while for me anyway, because I don't eat that junk.
Yeah.
So, we all want to afford these things. But if that all want to afford precedes us wanting a truly liberated Africa,
my sister, that's why we need to be inconvenienced.
Then when this system has beaten you up, don't come to us and say they fired me at work unfairly. Then see to finish. That's the system you want most.
Exactly.
Yeah. I wanted to comment on the book. I think I found that very, very interesting. That what does a book represent? Forget the content thereof. What does the book represent, and what do we associate a book with? So you associate a book with the idea that now you have been assimilated. Now you can be different from others. Now you can be not African, like being civilized. Any other book, that's the representation. So people read books not to really implement or practice what useful things that may be coming out of the book, but to derive some sort of currency, as I said earlier on, currency from the system. So I am who I am in the academia because of the symbol of a book. And it's not for actually making a huge difference for Africanness. It's about, see me, here I am. And when you start criticizing the book as a symbol, you're like, you are no longer proper, and people can start dissociating themselves from you because you are not what we are supposed to be. So our relevance and currency, as represented by the book, it's not African, in a way. But it's a very, very delicate statement to make because it can be interpreted or even misinterpreted in many ways. So the idea of being colonized, it's very, very real, and I keep on saying, like, it's like we're in the belly of a beast in every way. You have to keep on justifying, keep on justifying yourself, keep on fighting, against or even against your own people, because what you are seeing is not what everybody else has been conditioned and accustomed to. That's the sad part of it.
I love that analogy, David. I am one who creates visions when I hear words. So I picture it in my head. I already have your beast. I can see us inside the stomach. And guess what? This beast, every now and then, when it gets a stomach upset because we are fighting each other and we are trying to get out of its system, it swallows a pill that comes and burns a bunch of us and kills us. And we don't even realize it. And we continue the same cycle. We're in there, we fight, and it swallows another pill and kills a bunch of us. It still continue staying in there. And what is literally happening is a lot of us are staying, because some of us are saying, let's get out of this stomach. It's very uncomfortable. I'm burning. Oh, but I'm in a corner that's not burning. I'm doing well in this stomach. I don't need to do anything. And so some of us want to get out of the stomach, but a lot of us are okay with just being inside that stomach. And once in a while, a pill will be swallowed. But because we're in a corner where the pill never gets us, we're good.
That's proper.
So can I
that's
just
exactly where we are.
make
Go on.
A quick response. Ed Jane Pasha says, I'm dealing with a health issue, a temporary setback, but I am here and will be here as the Spirit's directive. So Jane, get my email address or my contacts from one of the platforms represented here, because you need African herbs for whatever that issue is. I'm also just so tired of Western medication that cures one thing but fucks up another in your body. You know?
Yeah.
It's just
Mama
Yeah,
doesn't
Kanisi,
yeah,
make
yeah.
sense.
I am glad you said that. Here's the thing about healthcare today. Healthcare is a business. There are things that should stop being businesses. Number one, healthcare. Number two, law enforcement. Like the justice system should not be a business. There should be not lawyers paid to do lawyering. This is what I'm saying. Judges should not be paid to be judges. I know it sounds radical, but walk with me. Doctors should not be paid to be doctors. Because what that does is it creates an incentive where that person is doing their job to get a salary, not to keep you well. That person is doing the job to get a salary, not to free you and fight for your rights. We have to figure out. I know what I'm saying seems a little unrealistic, so we need to come together and figure out how we will redesign this system. But as long as we make these basic needs in our lives ways of people making more money, as long as war is a way for companies to grow and build and make money, there will always be war. And we, as human beings, literally, healthcare is in the business of making sick people. They have no customers if you're well. So they're not in the business of making you well. They're in the business of keeping you constantly sick, coming back, so that you can be a regular customer.
So funeral services should not be a business.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because but then in our present state, it's being really commercialized. People are
Thank
looking
you. Thank
forward
you.
to the next death to make excuse the pun, a killing out of it. And then I remember during the COVID when the ANC government in Gauteng was digging a targeted number of 1 million graves in
No.
anticipation of them. And this was like tenderized, to be put into tender as it was like that is an opportunity to bid for business. And that's and it's totally issued in African sense. We don't commercialize that. But if you look at our communities today across Africa, there's a lot of business in death, business in funeral services, and I think that is quite scary. It's a total departure from the center of Africanness.
In fact, I like speaking our languages fluently, David. I've said this many times on these platforms that if I give you medicine in Zulu, I think Swati works the same, Xhosa and Ndebele, the Nguni languages. If I give you medicine and you say thank you, it's like you've jinxed that medicine not to work. So in those 4 languages, if I give you medicine, your response should be, we do not say thank you to medicine. That's how you say thank you. Because we
Yes.
believe medicine was herbs. It came from the ground. So no one owned it. The power, it comes with the power in it already. You don't put any power in it as a human being. So, but you are right. We've departed so much away from that, and I'm grateful that you are bringing us back to where we started with the conversation. Because in South Africa, I mean, under Ramaphosa government, privatization has just been the name of the game. But also just the ANC. I mean, if I think of what the ANC believed before '94 and how they capitulated in the Codesa talks and moved from being leftists to align themselves in the center, but lean actually even more to the right, how they've just become neoliberalists without shame. And they did that in '94 when they chose the economic system and we didn't do anything. They started driving big cars and coming to campaign in a slum with the latest Mercedes Benz in a slum and have no shame, drive that kind to the slum. And we still said nothing. It's being incremental, and now they are where they are with 40% and marrying the DA. So I think I'm glad you brought that conversation back, because yeah, for us, South Africa truly is a ruthless neoliberal state currently.
Do you know what the DA says on their website? The DA is ready to rescue South Africa. That's their tag. The
Yeah,
DA is ready to
Patronizing
bring it
rights.
to the good old days of racism.
and I'm gonna read to you so that you see how white supremacy manipulates, which is why apparently there are so many South Africans, black South Africans, who voted for the DA. They
Yep.
say they are going to deal with unreliable power supply. They are going to deal with they are rescuing South Africa from unreliable power supply, out of control crime, illiteracy in too many children, water shortages, failing ports, decaying towns and cities, death of economic growth prospects and ability to create jobs. So a mother, a father, a child, a young person, those are the people who are voting, who does not know how the system of white supremacy works, is like, oh, but they're telling me they're going to do all this. These are the things that are bothering me. So I'm going to vote for them. In other words, white men will always have sweet words for you. Always. But you don't judge white men by their words, you judge them by their actions. We need to stop judging white men by their words. We need to start judging white men by their actions. I'm talking about a specific one too, as I continue to speak. Bill Gates, and we'll have a conversation about him. Bill Gates talks big talk. Microsoft talks big talk, and you think they're going around helping Africa. But when you look at Bill Gates' actions and what he leaves behind everywhere he goes, it's harm. So go on, Mama Kanyisile.
No, sorry. I'm just saying there's a post here that's very interesting from Zandi. Says Rock Hessoff says they need just 5 years, and then they don't care what happens in South Africa after that.
You know,
Sure.
it's frustrating to me when I know what the response is going to be if I reach out to my brothers and sisters. I'm going to bring out, we had a conversation on Kumbukeni where we talked about in 24 to 36 months, we're going to be digitally colonized, which means they'll have control of our healthcare, our economy, our education, everything that is connected to a computer. So if they feel like they want to shut it off, which they did in West Africa a couple of months ago, they will shut it off. And no one acted with the urgency that message should result in. No one was sending messages. What can we do? How are we going to fix this? No one. And so I know after this conversation, we are going back to the same usual. Nduku struggling on her own, Mama Kanyisile struggling on her own. Once in a while, the two of them comfort each other. They continue to struggle. Nsiki's struggling on her own. Please. Dude! I'm telling you, I'm tired, people. I'm tired of coming here to give you the information and awaken you, and you're not awakening.
Yeah, I'm also tired.
Yeah, guys. We're gonna conclude the conversation now, guys. I like from where we started to this point. The question we have to ask ourselves is, where do we go from here? We cannot keep having these conversations over and over again and keep doing the same thing over and over again, and we're gonna get the same results. So, in our minds, consciously, where do we go from here? Because something needs to give.
Politicians are our enemy.
Yeah, I agree. And basically, we've agreed that that politicians they're not there to solve our problems, guys. So where do we go from here?
Yeah.
We need to build a continental movement. I agree with the person who sent that post, because I've been shouting this from 2016 also. How is it that currently Kenyans are toying in the streets, and we are not supporting in any way? I mean, we don't even know. I know because maybe I have a lot of Kenyan friends, and I know because I stay woke about this continent. But an average person somewhere else, do they know in this continent that Kenyans are fighting back right now? So this thing of having been segmented into silos is not going to help us. We need a continental movement that's one. So it means we need to start movement building. And because we are the ones who see the problem, Oladele, it means that falls upon us.
Yes.
2, we need to build, as Nduku was saying, we need to build currency so that when people fall, we can help them. It's sad to be a Pan-Africanist because when you lose your house, when you become unemployed, you suffer alone. It's your personal problem, they say in defense. Nobody's there to help you. And the system doesn't catch you. In fact, the system comes and tell you, we told you so. What did you think you were doing? So that's the second thing we need. We need to build our own financial muscle. 3, we can't stop the education. We need to continue in the spirit of each one, teach one. We need to continue. Our people are mentally enslaved. So we need to continue the message. We can't stop that. So for me, those are the 3 things that need to happen. And
Someone is saying no sound.
And detach from the matrix, as Nziki said, as Nduku said. I mean, no parliament in this continent is going to deliver the ideals of Kwame Nkrumah. You know, it was actually studied. Only 3% of what he said has been implemented in Ghana itself. So, I mean, what do you think outside Ghana? Nothing.
So the person who is saying no sound and then they say it is me, how did you hear how he asked? Anyway, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right, guys. Let's for last thoughts, guys. Unduku, what's your last thoughts?
Yeah.
My last thoughts is I'm done with fake revolution. I'm done. And right now, a lot of us are fake revolutionaries. All of the organizations are fake revolutions. A lot of us are fake revolutionaries. If you tell me one more time when I'm telling you we are doing something, but the United States law does not allow, like, have you not gotten the memo? The United States law is illegal. It's criminal. It is against you. So you, as someone who seeks liberation, cannot continue to be quoting the United States law. Someone said to me yesterday, because I told that story to them, a family member, about how I was frustrated I could not help that woman in court because I did not have my legal certification. I was one who once pursued a career in law. And my cousin said to me, why don't you go back to law school? I said to them, what am I going back to law school in the United States or elsewhere right now for? What am I going to law school for? To be a part of the clown, to the circus? You're literally asking me to go into the justice system that is injustice to try and make justice. Like, why? Why?
Yeah.
And the thing for us to realize is we need to create a new legal system. Literally, outside of all legal systems, we need to create a new legal system that is going to identify the criminals, the United States, the United Kingdom, whichever Middle East camp. I'm not one who's discriminatory as far as calling the criminals. China, Russia, all of them right now, there's something that they're doing. If Russia did not have mercenaries in Africa and continue to have them, then I would start seeing them as a friend. Right now, they're an enemy who we can use to benefit against the bigger enemy. That's what Russia is right now. They're not a friend. They're an enemy, but an enemy who can help us defeat the bigger enemy. So,
okay, let's Nziki, your thoughts before you go. Your final
I
thoughts.
have no last thoughts. I'm good to go. It was lovely to engage, and I'm looking forward to more engagement.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. David, your last thoughts, please.
Yeah, look, I mean, I just wish we can just disentangle ourselves from the hegemon, because everything you touch is dominance, is hegemon. Like whether you talk education, whether you talk law, whether you talk food, whether you talk fashion, anything, it's we are gone. So how the question going forward is, how do we get out of this belly of the beast? And for me, it's a tough ask, and we need to work very, very hard towards that. There will be detractors here and there, but if you know what you want, we just keep on fighting like Nkrumah did. And so I don't know, but it's just exhausting. Thank you.
Thank you, David. I agree. I'm glad you joined my boat. Sit right here. I'll join you right back real quick. Can I say just one more thing quickly that reminded me? I was reminded of when David said what he said. In Kenya, this is one call to action. This is my last word. Right now, the Kenyan policy has criminalized saving original seed and growing original seed. I am calling to all Kenyans to go ahead and break that law today. Break the law. Break that law. I'm not mincing my words. Break that law. Save original seeds, grow them. Break the law.
At least Kenyans even know. You can find that in all our other countries that went on silently behind the walls and no one even protested or noticed.
Okay. Wow. My final words. As of yesterday, a couple of days ago, the Nigerian government actually started commercializing GMO seeds in Nigeria. Now, second to South Africa, they've actually legally promoting GMO seeds. Guys, this cannot carry on. Something needs to be done. And my thoughts yesterday is, I had to say it out, but this is what came to my thought. My life is at stake because of this. That's how I felt.
That is literally what it is. Like, why are you just getting to that conclusion?
But I'm saying my life is at stake because of this. Because if we allow these things to continue, no, that's it. Basically, we have to be ready to sacrifice something. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks for being part of this. Kumbukeni, guys, Moya, LinkedIn, Imagine Kabilan. Thanks for being part of this. We'll be back soon. We're going to keep having these conversations because they are deep, they are thought-provoking, and it's about time we do something different. We cannot keep doing the same thing we did before to free ourselves. True freedom means going against the grain, going against the things that we are used to. And that means inconvenience. Inconvenience. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
I just like that last posting there. Ghana took GMO over LGBTQ.
Thank you.
Let's go and eat. For those of us who is night, like Moya and David, enjoy the rest of your day.
Wow.
Late for you, Oladele, so enjoy your dinner also. Ghana took GMO over LGBTQ.
They always give us a choice. That's a sad thing. They always give us a choice. They always give us a choice. We never make our own choices. They always give us a choice.
They always make it seem like we have a choice.
Yeah. Anyway,
thank you,
thoughts, guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
See you soon.